Hey everyone, Genome here, catch you with the next Marvel Strike Force video. Today's video kind of centers once again more for the beginner player or maybe even the newly minted mid-game player. And that has to do with new characters that are released. There's been some chatter in my secondary account Alliance about Bishop, if they should buy Bishop, whatever. I'm not, like, none of my videos really are going to be about buying characters. This is all about mostly the free-to-play player, or said the early guy who may be a light spender, but might want to spend their money elsewhere. So, okay, let's talk about new characters. New characters are getting released at an ever faster rate, so it's very difficult to keep up. And basically, you're not going to be able to keep up. All right, especially as a free-to-play player, just get that into your head right away. This is not knocking the game or knocking Scopely, nothing like that. Just that's the basis of this. I think Wolverthor like a year ago did a breakdown, really good breakdown actually. Where he did a spreadsheet on if you wanted to upgrade every character just as it was at the time through normal means without paying money, and it was like over 20 years.
Holy shit!
I'm not even joking. So you have got to get used to like hoarding your resources and only spending them where they do you the most good. And where this comes in is you're going to see tons of hype for new characters, and you need to weigh risk versus reward on should you bother going for them or should you stick to a tried and true plan. So the characters you see on the screen are just some examples of some newer characters that I really haven't worked on. Now don't let stature and ghost levels there fool you. I think this was just for RTA because I had a couple RTA events that involved either these characters and or the Pimtech team, and I just wanted them to survive at least one round enough to get off ability. So that's basically why they're at, but where they're at. But I will not be unlocking Jubilee, obviously, on her first go around because my Yellow Jacket's I think only 3 or 4 stars as well. But so here's where we're at. So like I said, these are new characters. Some of them are really good, some are untested, really unknown, and you know, one is obviously unnecessary. Let's talk about her first. Yelena is a new character. Skillterry got tons of hype. That hype has pretty much been shot down now by the Krakens, who do the good work actually of telling us who is usable and who isn't really usable. So thank you to the whales and Krakens to do that. But really, Yelena, the whole team is completely optional. It's a war, you know, shiny toy thing, and it's not really even doing everything it was supposed to do. So, but the reason I have Yelena up here is, for one thing, newer players might fall into the trap of hearing lots of hype. Especially now, the one thing is back to the Krakens and whales. This character can be awesome, But even if Yelena was really awesome, what is she going to do for you outside of war? And the new player really needs to consider that especially before they make purchases, but before they start dumping precious resources in the character. Another reason I wanted to show Yelena here is, if you'll notice, I pulled 7 reds on her out of a regular red star orb.
Are you kidding?
Okay, I've done that twice now. First time it was Thanos. That was a good one. So eventually I will work on her because she's 7 red. It's going to be good eventually, but I'm not working on her right now. There is no reason at all for me to put any kind of investment whatsoever here. Remember, I'm a free-to-play player too. Like Skillterry, I didn't unlock Red Guardian. I think I was 2 shards shy. Once again, I'm a little more casual in this game. But like my Punisher is like almost 100k, but everyone else is garbage I have on that team. So definitely not worth the investment. And even if I had good players or good characters at pretty decent levels to make a Skillterry team that works well, they only work well in war. So it's only doing one thing for me. And as a free-to-play player and a little more casual player, they need to do multiple things for me. And that's kind of the ongoing theme for any new player. You really need to lock down what can that character do for you in multiple modes, because you can't afford to level everybody. I know I beat this into the ground on several videos, but I think it really bears mentioning, because this game will suck you into wanting the newest, latest, greatest shiny object. But that's not always the best thing for you. Another example we have here is Kitty Pryde. Okay, Kitty Pryde looks to have an okay kit, I guess. It's hard to tell. She's going to require serious testing to see if she's even necessary on that team, to be honest with you. But, you know, with a couple blitzes, you might get, 1 or 2 stars like I did. If you blitz harder, you get more. That's just me. I don't blitz that much. You might be tempted at 2 stars, say you locked her even 3 stars, to start cranking gear into her and resources. And that also means gold, by the way. Ability mats, training mats, etc. So you get her up to, say, I don't know, tier 11. Gear tier 11 or something like that. What's that going to do for you? Are you unlocking Jubilee this turn or this go around? Are you unlocking Bishop this go around? If not, what's the point? I mean, it's nice to have some extra mutants, but none of the mutant teams have shown themselves to be really great in all game modes. Usually they're exceptionally good in like 1 or 2 game modes, but we have yet to see the dedicated mutant raid team. And once again, I think that's the most important game mode for newer and mid-game players to be building for, is to do well in raids. You want to get into U7 if you're not there already, and you want to contribute. That's how you earn the most ability mats, T4 mats. You just earn so much stuff in there, and there's a couple important raid characters as well that is vital to get a good raid team, and the mutants have never been that. There's never any sustain. The closest to a sustain mutant team is usually Brotherhood, and that's because the opposing team is blinded in usually the first go-round. And there's enough defense from Juggernaut and Blob nowadays to kind of mitigate even their turn 2 somewhat. But after that, they fall like dominoes, and you can't use Phoenix in most nodes. I mean, you can use her, but usually you won't be able to 3-star a node because she's going to die. That's the only time she's good is when she's dead. And it's a vicious snowball there. So why would you dump a bunch of money, especially, but time, resources, materials into Kitty Pryde if you are not expecting to unlock Jubilee right away? Yes, you can build for the future, but once again, you got to ask yourself, is Kitty Pryde going to be more valuable to me than, say, Invisible Woman or Shuri? Kitty Pryde's going to be good on Astonishing X-Men, probably, right? But if she is going to be good, it's going to be on one team only. Shuri and Invisible Woman, just for examples, or even Black Bolt, even more importantly, you can put them anywhere, in any game mode, and they're going to excel for you. So unless you have money laying around, or you've been playing this game a long time and you're stacking resources, in which case this video really isn't for you. I mean, I hope you do watch it and comment on it, because I do like advice on this myself. I don't claim to have the lock on any early game knowledge or anything, but I just think it's so important to hammer that home and get that mindset. Is like, what can this team do for me? So Pimtech unlocks Jubilee. I mean, Jubilee looks to be pretty good, and she might be a good standalone character in raids, especially. So that remains to be seen. We'll see. But is there really a point in going hard for Pimtech, or should you go with something more tried and true? All your resources into like Sinister Six early and Asgardians, so you can get Invisible Woman, Shuri, and Black Bolt early, who are going to be exceedingly important, and through Black Bolt especially, Ebony Maw. Basically 4 characters that are going to be exceedingly important for your early and mid-game development, as opposed to more shiny new characters like Jubilee, Bishop, etc. Now, this is not saying that when new players are released, you shouldn't be going for them. Most new characters that are released, I keep saying new players, I'm sorry, but most new characters that are released are exceedingly power creeping the older ones. So there is something to be said for going for newer characters. Like, for instance, building up Emma Frost. If you only have her like 2 or 3 stars, that's still not a bad investment, because she's extremely powerful. She's kit based, but even not just her. I mean, there's other characters out there that are just power creeping like crazy. And let's take 2 more of them examples here that are new releases. That's Longshot and Shatterstar. They don't really have a place right now, other than being some of the best plug and play characters in the game. So it might not be a bad idea for you to beef these guys up. If you have a couple of holes that need filled, usually in the damage dealing department, you can do worse things than stick these guys in here. And I have a feeling eventually they are going to be tied to some sort of legendary event, or when X Factor is ever flushed out, whatever the case may be. But they're really, really good. But I still would not pump resources into them if it was stopping you from getting your early and early mid-game goals accomplished. I don't think you're going to hurt you. That's what I'm saying. But right now on my free-to-play account, well, they're both free-to-play, but my Lobby account, I'm at a serious dearth of training mats. So right now I got a lot of gold. I got like 5 million gold saved up in that thing, but I can barely level anybody because I'm just out of training mats at this point. So you're going to run across roadblocks and choke points constantly in this game, and you got to try to plan ahead for them just a little bit. And I took everything I knew from this experience on my main account to my other account, so it's definitely helped. I'm definitely in a much better spot than I was, and I guarantee that the characters that I have on that account are way more powerful than anything I had my first 2 years in the game, probably on this account, my main account. So I'm still playing catch up. Don't find yourself having to play catch up. Don't waste your time with characters like Nick Fury, Star-Lord. There is some call to go for Magneto. Actually, one of my viewers mentioned something about him needed for the Thanos unlock, which is true. You do that, but if that in that same rationale, you need like city characters good to get past the first nodes of the Heroes campaign, and then you have to have the AIM or Hydra or War Sinister Six, which is going to be AIM almost likely for sure for the starting the villains campaign in the 7 nodes and up. So it's a rough one, but I mean, there's like 3 characters there that you could waste a lot of time on that aren't going to avail you too much as far as game progression goes. So yeah, weigh that risk reward and think if it's worth it for you. I'm not going to be putting anything in these characters for quite a while. Maybe Shatterstar long shot, because obviously we've seen enough gameplay with them. We know they are absolute monsters, but you can see I don't have high gold stars on them. I just pulled 2 reds this morning actually on Shatterstar, but I had them at no red stars. That's the other thing I was going to tell you to consider before working on the character. So say you, I don't know, let's take a middling character. Let's go pick one out here. Or not middle, but like middle of the road character. Let me go down a little bit so it's not geared up. Let's take Thor. Okay, for example, Thor is just okay, except on his teams he's amazing. So you're almost always going to pair him up. But just a standalone character, he's barely okay, to be honest with you. So yes, you want to work on him for Black Bolt and through him, of course, Eddie Maw. But as far as gearing him up, you want to, and of course putting higher abilities into him, you want to figure, do I just gear him up to get past the event, the Black Bolt unlock event, which is about where he is now. I think he was like 50 grand or so when I did it before for the Black Bolt event, 7 stars. But do I take him higher? A lot of that depends on your red stars. Right now, he has 4, and that's just middle of the road. I mean, that's nothing special anymore. If you have like 1 red star on this character, or whatever character we're talking about, you might want to really consider not dumping resources in that until you pull more red stars. Because that character, even at 7 gold and gear tier 14, if he's only got 1 red star, it's not going to do you much. It's not going to do well. They're not going to be able to survive in upper tier raids and or dark dimensions. So it's something to consider. So there's that. So I don't know. It's a tough game, and I know that really people just want to level everything and especially the most shiny, new, bright thing, the most hyped up thing. But remember, take it with a grain of salt. When the whales and the krakens are dealing with these characters, they've dumped maybe hundreds of dollars into them. So it looks cool and it looks awesome, and you're seeing that these characters at pretty high power levels, but if you're only being able to get these characters at, gear tier 6 with, 3 gold stars and 1 red, that character's, you just kind of almost throw your money away. I mean, so anyway, that's kind of the whole gist of this video is just to practice a little restraint, keep to your plans, and don't let things that are shiny new distract you from your goal, which is to progress at a good, strong, even rate without any weird jags off into unknown territory in different directions. So anyway, hopefully this video was a little bit helpful for you. Hopefully it made some sort of sense, and let me know in the comments below what you thought about it. Was I a little too reticent to go for the newer characters, even though they look to be really good on paper? I forgot to make this point too, is a lot of these newer characters, you can't farm them. Keep that in mind as well. So once again, you could crank their gear up to gear tier 11, 12, 13, whatever, but you're stuck at 2 stars for the foreseeable future. They might not be released 6 months from now. So you have no way of farming them outside your wallet. So be very careful of that too. I forgot to mention that earlier. So yes, hopefully this video was helpful for you. And if you have any comments, how you would change things up, or if you would recommend going for newer players more hard, let me know in the comments below. So until next time, this is Genome, just looking out for the little guy and gal. Out.